Good evening and welcome to the HR Insider. Do your palms sweat whenever you think about politics? Have you ever hid from people who are coming door to door with clipboards? Have you ever really wanted an I voted sticker but you didn't know how to get it? I have. So today we're going to talk with Jeff Knapp. He is the Vice Mayor of Bethany, and he's going to talk to us about local politics and how you can get involved on a local level. So Jeff, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where your love for politics came from?
Sure. Well, I work at Francis Teletechnology Center. I work in public affairs, so I do a little bit of government affairs, media relations, community relations. I am a council member and vice mayor of the city of Bethany. I was thinking about how long that I've had interest. My dad was a trustee in the small town that I grew up on. I'm an Iowa farm boy, so let me put that out there. But my dad was a trustee for the city, and then I was trying to think, 22 years ago, I worked on a job that was to pass a piece of legislation at the state level. And so I really got to know kind of how the process of state government, the ins and outs, and what's not in the book. So got to know about that, and then I've been on the council for about 5.5 years now. So
That's a lot of experience.
Yeah.
That's a lot of experience.
So can you just describe for us what your duties are, what it's like to be vice mayor? What do you do? What are your responsibilities? What you like the best, and maybe some things that are challenging?
Well, the main thing about being vice mayor is you preside when the mayor cannot, over meetings. Sometimes that's happened. I also provide some strategic advice to the mayor, sit in on lots of meetings about different kinds of things. It's a rewarding position. I'm elected by the members of the council, so the vice mayor position is a 1 year at a time, where the council members and the mayor are a 4-year term, in the city of Bethany anyway.
Is there a limit of how many years you can serve as?
There are no
Vice
term
mayor?
limits in the
Okay.
city of Bethany currently,
Okay.
so that's where we stand on that. It's a 4-year term and there's no limit.
Well, obviously people like you. They keep putting you in.
I hope so.
So what's one of the things that is the most rewarding thing for you as vice mayor? I mean, you have a lot of experience doing this, and to me, I'm really new at voting, and I'm really new at getting involved with politics. And as a small business owner, I need to know why this is important and how this affects my business, what people like you get to do every day. So surely there's an exciting part of what you get to do.
Well, one of the things is educating people on the process.
Like me.
Help people understand things a little bit better. Sometimes I don't even know exactly the ins and outs of a certain piece of legislation or ordinances. We do have staff at the city of Bethany who are very good about following the letter of the law and helping us understand, guide us along the way. Same at the state and federal level too. The staff really know how to get things done and do it in a legal manner and strategically what would be best. Sometimes the timing is different from one thing to another. So I think the rewarding part is helping people. That's what it all comes down to. Long term, my perspective has always been long term, not the next election. What's good for the people in 20 years? Will this help long term? My grandchildren maybe.
Sure.
So it sounds like you have a good support staff, and you are able to kind of administrate and facilitate, and then they're able to make it happen for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It's the staff that make things happen. So.
Excellent. Well, we want to make sure we have a shout out to them. So yay, City of Bethany people for helping us
It
out.
makes a team, and we definitely understand and support building a good team, because you're only as good as your team, the team you have around you, and your support.
Yeah, absolutely, in any kind of role.
Yes. So you kind of touched on some of these things as far as what are challenges. Is there one that just kind of sticks out in your mind, the hardest, the most challenging thing you've had to go through, and how you navigated through that?
Yeah, sometimes there's a vote that is you really have to weigh it out. Sometimes there's a loud contingent or a small contingent of people who really feel that something needs to happen in this area, but you have to weigh out, should the rest of the people in the city have to pay for that? will it impact more people than that? So you try to think what's best for the most people. Sometimes it does work out that way. You really have to weigh those things out and do your research. So there's a lot of reading involved, a lot of background research. So those are the kinds of things that, you know, keep you up at night.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one, yeah?
Right, exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
So if you were going to get out there and talk to newer people who haven't voted yet, you know, I'm 30s and first vote was last year, so that's my bad for not doing that. But it was a really scary process to me and I didn't know what to do. So if we had this conversation a year ago before I had my first time ever voting, you know, my first presidential election will be the next one coming up. What are some of the things that you could describe to me? And I know at the last time we voted, I met a series of people, it was literally their first time voting, that were all kind of around my age, and they said, well, I'm independent, I guess I only get to vote on 2 people, versus like Democrats and Republicans, they have, you know, this long list of things they get to vote for. Just kind of learning and educating and saying, oh, okay, so I could be here for 2 hours, I should bring snacks, like waiting in line.
Well, it's legal to bring a cheat sheet. If you've done your research and you kind of know the ins and outs of either way, it's okay to bring notes with you to the polls.
Okay.
You just don't share those with others at the polls. That's
Can
not
it be
allowed.
your personal notes?
Yeah, it's your personal notes.
or
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
Hanging out on your
How you
phone.
know.
Check
Yeah,
things
but
out.
and one thing I would recommend is not just watching TV or believing everything you see on the internet or what you read in the paper. Try to see both sides of the story. What's the background on that? You know, it's not an easy process. I know in school we learn about the different branches of government, and usually that's based on the federal level. The state level is very similar. The municipal level, there's not much education about that. And I wish that would change a little bit, just so people could understand that there's almost always another side to the story, and sometimes there's more than 2 sides of a story. So just try to understand what's really going on. So
Can't believe those commercials that are brought to you, paid
not,
for,
not
supported
just
by.
the commercials,
Yeah.
right?
Those
I
are
think on
always a little
Facebook,
bias.
I had seen that you had shared, like, hey, to learn more about this thing, click on this government link, or to see where you're registered to vote, click here. That really helped me even know, oh, it's time to vote. I guess I should make sure I have a card available.
Yeah.
You know, things like that really did help me. It felt very unbiased. It was like, here, just go learn what you need to learn, and you decide what you want to decide there. So I appreciated that.
Well,
like,
the
yes.
state election board has a really good website. You can go and actually look up your ballot for where you
Yes.
live.
Yes.
So, you know, might be different across the street. Whoever lives across the street from you may have a different representative or senator that they can vote on. So it's good to know. You might see signs in your neighborhood that don't apply to you, and
Right.
vice versa. So the state election board's a good place. Also, how an idea becomes a law. I just looked on the state legislature website today. It's up there, and it kind of ideas become laws. That's how that happens. It's a lengthy process. There's lots of ins and outs to the process. But just kind of seeing what happens to make that happen is kind of it takes some education. So
Sure. So here's some maybe some inside questions on being vice mayor. Is it a paid position? Do you get like a fancy red phone that like direct call to the president?
oh yeah,
You know, they're
the bat phone.
Full perks.
bat
Well, you
phone.
mean my bat phone?
Yeah.
No, we don't have a bat phone. We don't have a red phone. It is in the city of Bethany. The city charter, in almost any city, there's a city charter, which is kind of like our constitution. And it is in the city of Bethany, we're provided a small stipend. Some cities have it, however, people get paid per meeting that they go to. Some get a salary. It just depends on whatever city you're in. We get a small stipend, so it's not enough to make a living on.
Sure.
So everybody, unless you're retired, everybody has a job
Yeah.
besides being on the council. So
Well, it's good that you're compensated for your time and wisdom and all of that. So
And it sounds almost as much emotional as it is physical time. Like you're having to think and prepare about how you want to handle a situation before you go into those meetings, and you got to be ready to take over for the mayor whenever he can't be there. But it doesn't sound like it's, you know, it's not a full-time commitment
it's
in
not
that way.
full-time.
So.
It's what I think of it as. It's not a full-time job, but it is a full-time representation or
Yes.
commitment. If people call and they have an issue, you just need to hear them out and try to educate them or get them to the right people who can help them. So.
Well, thank you so much for coming out today and chatting with us and helping people like me be a little bit more educated on what we can do. And we want to give you our thanks for coming by today.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Jeff.
it.
And thank you for joining us and learning more about how things happen here in Oklahoma City.